Welcome to AI GovCast. I'm your host, Nikki Henderson. Today we're chatting with Dorothy Aronson, the Chief Data Officer and Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer with the National Science Foundation. She'll be discussing her new role as CAIO and how AI is helping the overall mission at NSF. Dorothy will also talk about the importance of having a workforce skilled in AI, as well as why it's essential to have a strong partnership between the AI and data analytics teams.
This episode of AI GovCast is sponsored by Zscaler. Concerned about your agency's defenses against cyber threats? Trust in Zero Trust with Zscaler. Our security model assumes all users, devices, and applications are untrusted and only permits access on a need-to-know basis. Zscaler uses our unique data fabric and powerful AI to prevent threats and minimize the attack surface so you can protect your agency's data from cyber threats and modernize with confidence. With over 35 global certifications, Zscaler is the world's most accredited security cloud. To learn more, visit zscaler.com/federal.
Well, Dorothy, I would like to start off by congratulating you on your new role as the Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer at NSF. You've had several months to get settled into the position. So can you please talk about the experience of incorporating your new role into your current role as Chief Data Officer? And can you also explain why the CAIO and CDO can actually be the same person?
Well, they are two big jobs. So, but in some ways, they always have to be close partners. And so having it in one role actually is a very convenient way of ensuring that the AI pieces evolve at the same time as the data capacity. So let me explain a little bit that AI currently, a lot of AI is reliant on data to make decisions. And so managing the data layer, so let's just say I feel I'm responsible for providing a clean data layer that is available for advanced analytics and AI at NSF. That's my job as the CDO. My job as the CAIO is to build the AI components or ensure that the AI components that are built on that fabric are used, ensure responsible use of those AI tools over the course of their lives as the data is changing. So again, commingling these two jobs is critical, and coordinating the maturity of them together is great.
Dorothy is also excited about a new organization she's creating within NSF that will unify the CDO, the CAIO, and the Chief Information Security Officer under the Office of the Chief Information Officer to create a smoother connection between the teams. Artificial intelligence is appealing to agencies like NSF because of how it uses data. I asked Dorothy to describe the process of prepping data for advanced analytics and AI.
The data that we're using here, the administrative data in the National Science Foundation, a lot of it is collected through the process that we follow here to collect proposals, ideas from the public, and work them through a proposal that's called a proposal that goes through a review process and then is awarded. That whole pipeline is automated. The systems that are capturing that data, though, are capturing it at a transactional level that's for the purpose of moving the process along. But if you want to perform data analytics on that or use it for artificial intelligence, you need to look at the data as a whole. And rather than looking at it as transaction by transaction, you want to see a view of it that cuts through the transactions or combines the transactions together. And over time, these systems change. So in order to do a query, if you are asking a question about something that happened 10 years ago, you're looking at data in one format. If you want to know 5 years ago, it's in a different format. So at the AI, at the clean data layer, you need to resolve all those differences so that you can draw an arc of how something happened over time.
Dorothy highlights the importance of accessible data layers throughout our conversation, and we'll dive further into that later in the interview.
So what happens today is the data analytics staff go through a lot of what we call wrangling of the data before they're able to build their analytic a chart. Imagine a chart that shows progress over time. So what I need to do is go through that wrangling in a way that the whole agency can accept it and use it. And so that the people performing analytics or performing AI don't need to wrangle the data themselves. And so it strikes me that, one of the things that's happened certainly through my career and through our lives is this notion of continuous change. Kind of like I mentioned, the systems 10 years ago captured data in one way and 5 years ago, something else. And now everything's new. It's all continuously changing. And it's the work being prepared for and preparing the data and myself and my customers all for that change is a very important part of the work we're doing. So there's a cultural element that goes along with this. And fortunately, at the National Science Foundation, the program offices who have the questions that they want answered with this data are fabulous partners with us. So the analytics team is coming in. They have good questions. They're very helpful in driving forward this creation of this clean data layer.
I gotcha. Thank you. That was perfect. Well, Dorothy, can you tell me about the importance, just a little bit, you were mentioning just then, the importance of the partnership between the agency's AI and data analytics teams?
Yes, absolutely. So, we were talking about how AI and data are combined in my office. But I am not the analytics expert. So a lot of what's important to NSF is to be able to say, how has this research evolved over time, or how has this investment that I made, that NSF made several years ago, what is the impact of that external to NSF? And that's a complicated data question. And what's happened is the partnership with the people asking the questions is important so that I build the data in coordination with their requirements. And they have been a tremendous benefit to me and to this organization, because in many ways, they have been creating their own little data layer, clean data layers themselves. What's happening now is I'm beginning to say, can I have that? You've already done a lot of the work for me. Can I have that and put it in this data layer? Can I add your work in with what's already there to enrich the data capacity that we have here at NSF? So they're fabulous partners, and they're not part of our OCIO team. It's a beautiful organization. They call themselves data analytic officers, and they're sort of a self-driven, a highly motivated group of data science professionals and fabulous partners. I'm learning a lot from them.
That's awesome. Awesome to hear. Well, you also talked about the clean data layer. Will you talk a little bit more about the clean data and clean data layer? And also, can you just talk a little bit about the overall evolution of IT and data?
I mentioned before that a lot of the data is captured in transactional systems at the National Science Foundation. What we have been doing for many years is taking that data and transforming it, copying it, and reshaping it and putting it in a warehouse. That is a wonderful first step. But what's happened is it takes time to do that processing. And that processing results really in a lot of the information in the warehouse, not all of it, but a lot of it is a day old, because the transformation takes time. It goes overnight, and then it's parked. It's copied into this other repository. when we have the clean data layer, what will be there is logic. It will be a virtual data layer. It won't have a copy of the data, but it will have a view into the transactional data as it's changing. And so it will be, instead of having what they call data, it will have metadata. It will have information about the data that's needed. And so it will not require the other copy. The thing that's very important about that data layer is then you can connect it to other clean data layers outside of NSF, and virtually combine data rather than copying it from one place to the other, having to deal with the multiple copies of the data and the problems that can occur with that kind of replication of data. So that's clean data layer.
Dorothy brings a unique background to her role, having started with an interest in art before working in accounting, banking, and ultimately IT.
Then skip forward. So I watched the birth of the internet, the use of IT in our everyday lives, going to cell phones, et cetera. And now I see, a few years ago, I saw data emerge as this new capability that we had just scratched the surface of. We were using it for transactional stuff, but data analytics offered a whole new capability that we had not even imagined. And so we've turned our attention to that. And after doing data for a couple of years, AI emerged. And, so now I've got both of those infants, more or less. We have a baby data world, and we have a brand new AI world, and they're growing fast. And the growth is happening much faster in these areas than it did with IT to begin with. And so it's just thrilling. And I believe that the key for all of us, whether we're creating these solutions or whether we're using them, is to be flexible and embrace the change that's coming. So that's my world, my life in a nutshell.
Right. Well, that was great. Very fascinating to hear about. Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, Dorothy, in what ways is AI helping NSF's overall mission?
Well, I'm going to start with something that might not be obvious, which is that the first AI at NSF was that we are using for operations really probably came through products that we're buying that are ensuring security on our network. And that is really important because vendors have been providing us AI solutions, especially in the cyber realm, for a while. And we've been so much better off because we don't have people having to sift through lots of data. AI can alert us when there are potential problems on the network in anticipation at a rate that a human couldn't possibly understand. So then AI has emerged, though, into various other products that we are purchasing that we can configure to use AI to help automate business processes. And so that's another emerging area. And so there's AI embedded in products. There's AI available in products like that you can then add, choose to turn on or off for customer benefit. And we look forward to more of those emerging. And I'm going to use a specific, because we're federal and because we are leveraging all federal infrastructure, and everything has to be at a certain security level before we can get to it.
Dorothy also discussed AI tools and programs that are available to the private sector and how NSF is using a pilot program to explore how to safely deploy these technologies in the public sector.
There's also some AI involved in data analytics, in that wrangling of the data, for example, that I talked about. Mm-hmm. And so that's where the data analytics or the data science professionals have a leg up and are already using AI for various components of their products.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, you just got through talking about AI being embedded in products. All very interesting. And I want to know how much, it leads me perfectly to my next question. How much access does your agency have to commercial AI products, and how skilled is the workforce when it comes to using them?
Well, we're just learning. So the products are evolving and they're becoming available very rapidly, and that's really exciting. So right now we have product evaluations going on various kinds of tools, and we're making plans to purchase certain ones. And we're preparing first the software, the people in the back, the people who would be either configuring these AI tools for use at NSF, or creating products with these tools. So that we call that commodity. These commodity products that we buy are emerging currently on the federal, available for the federal enterprise, and we're very excited about those. And we are actively preparing our own internal staff for their use. And by that, I mean within the office of the CIO, we're preparing and we're evaluating and assessing.
Even though many customers are eager to adopt AI products, Dorothy emphasized that humans will always remain in the loop at NSF, especially when it comes to making important decisions. Well, are there any future AI or data initiatives that you're excited to talk about?
Well, I'm we are on the brink. We've made a purchase and we're on the brink of implementing the data fabric that I talked about, the clean data layer. We have pieces of it. We're thinking in FY25 that we'll be able to pull it together for the first time and offer this virtual data layer to people. We're very excited about it. We've been building something called a catalog for some time, so that because the very first thing about clean data and AI ready data is to understand the data that you have. So if you can imagine that these systems that were created, some of them in 1980s, where the developers are long gone, so we have to dig through all this historic information in order to understand what we've got in our treasury of data. And so that's where we've been investing our time, as at the same time assessing what products to bring in to help create this data layer, and then how to migrate to it.
Okay. Well, that sounds very exciting, Dorothy. Very exciting. Well, before we conclude, I wanted to know, is there anything that we didn't discuss that you think we should talk about?
The things that I am most interested in are bringing solutions to customers. And I think that with respect to excellence in AI and data, we're on the path. We're in an early stage and we're on the path to bringing that to the customers. And it looks to me like all systems are go. We're bringing in people, we're bringing in tools, and we have great partnerships throughout the National Science Foundation.